Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Painting Night Live. Thanks for joining me. And Carla is here already. Hey, Carla. And I think we got Donna already over here. So, hey, hello, Donna. Tonight is going to be a whole lot of fun, I think. We're working on the flip cup technique. And one thing I love about the flip cup technique is there are a lot of variations you can do with it. So we're going to work with two different variations of the flip cup technique tonight. We're going to be doing the flip and drag, which is a really fun technique. I don't know why I don't do more of them. I love it. And we're also going to do a multi-cup flip cup. So it's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then also in the membership, I'm working on uploading a couple more demos, variations of the flip cup. One of them is using a very interesting mixing formula using glue and a different type of a pouring medium. It's actually a pouring medium / varnish and silicone as well. And you can get some very cool cells. So I'll post about that when the demo is up and ready. And also a couple more demos about different types of flip cups will be in the members area that you can check out. So we're doing all kinds of different flip cups this month. So Monique is here. Hello, Monique. And she's not feeling well. I'm so sorry, Monique. But you can always check the replay if you have to go take a rest. But thanks for joining us. You're a trooper. My gosh. So anyway, let's see. What are we going to do? I've mixed up a whole bunch of paint. I'm going to use the same color scheme for both paintings tonight. They're going to be drastically different looking paintings, but we're going to be using the same color. So I'll talk about those in a second. And let's see here. So the formula I'm using tonight, this is also another variation on the flip cup. For the first set of demos, the flip cup walkthrough that's in the membership area, I use the easy formula, which is 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and just some water to get the proper consistency. Tonight, we're going to be working with a different formula. This is a formula I've used many times. I really like this formula a lot. It uses Floetrol as well, but we're incorporating Liquitex pouring medium in this formula. And I really love the results you get when you add the Liquitex pouring medium into the Floetrol. It can really help generate more cells, and it creates some sharper lines and kind of more definition. It's a very cool look to the paintings. So I'll show you what the formula is in a second. You have access to it already, and I think it's in the membership it's in the post that has all the different handouts. It's in there. So it's a modified version of the my what is it called? Basic formula. So I'll go over that in a second here. It's a very simple formula. So let's check it out. Hey, Pat is here. LC is here. Thanks for joining me, everybody. So this is going to be a fun one. So let's take a look at the formula, and then I'll go over the different colors I'm going to be using in the demos tonight. So I'm going to flip the camera over here quick. And let's see here. So here is hopefully that'll focus a little bit and become a little less blurry. But here is one of the paint mixing charts. This happens to be, let's see here. This is my basic chart. So right here, it's a 5 to 3, the 5 parts Floetrol, 3 parts paint. So this is my kind of my basic recipe. But down the chart here is the formula that we'll be using tonight, which is the Floetrol Liquitex pouring medium mixture. And this formula is 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts Liquitex pouring medium, and 3 parts paint, plus some water to get the right consistency. Here is the Liquitex pouring medium. This is what it looks like. It has this, it'll say pouring medium on the bottle. This is a glossy medium, and it's kind of a premium product. This is about $32 to $35, I think, for a 32-ounce bottle like this. But it's great stuff. And I just sent a bottle to, I think it was Donna, or who won this? I forget who won them, but anyway, it's on the way to whoever won the Liquitex. I can't remember who won, but anyway, this is awesome stuff. And you can look for the gray label that signifies the pouring medium. And there's like about 30,000 different Liquitex pouring mediums, and there's like 10 different labels. There are green labels, orange labels, but we're looking for the one I like to use is this one, pouring medium with the gray label. So that's what we're going to be using. So again, it's 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts Liquitex pouring medium, and then 3 parts paint. And then the part size, I actually used 1 ounce for the part size, and because I mixed up a little larger quantity. So I had 3 ounces of Floetrol, 2 ounces of the Liquitex, 3 ounces of paint, which equals about 8 ounces. And so that's quite a bit of paint. Actually, I think I used 2. So I had a 6 ounce and 8 ounce. But that is the formula we're going to be using. And it's a great formula. So we'll get hopefully some awesome results with it. And let's see. So I'll talk about the paints next. So let's see here. We've got, let's go over, let's see. Let me go back to the big camera for a second. Okay. Hello again. So I wanted just to talk about the paints and the color scheme and for tonight, and also for just kind of this month. And instead of kind of a specific color harmony or color scheme to work on, I think I wanted you to focus more on values. So you can pick a lot of different colors, but I wanted you to incorporate a lot of different values, light values, dark values, and middle values in your painting. So I have different colors here, but it's mostly based on values. I have light colors, kind of middle light colors, middle colors, and dark colors. So I just wanted to mention that. And to get a little more technical, I didn't really intend to do this. I was kind of just picking colors, but this happens to be a triadic color scheme. You know, funny that, but so I'll show you that too. So let's go back to the top camera here, and I'll show you the color scheme. So here is my color wheel, and let's see. I should have blocked out some of the excess things, but so this is or a tetradic. I'm sorry, not a triadic, but a tetradic color scheme. And let me zoom out a little. That's kind of close. So just 1 second. Okay, so what a tetradic color scheme is 4 colors. We're working with 4 different colors, and it's basically 2 sets of complementary colors. So I have got like a teal color right here. So this is like a kind of aqua green teal. And I actually mixed up like the bright aqua green and some metallic cobalt blue from Artist Loft, and created kind of just a darker version of the bright aqua green. It has a little bit of metallics in it too. So we're working with like a blue green. So let me flip this over here. So the tetradic color scheme is a blue green and like a red orange. And so I have an orange here, and this is what is it? Artist Loft orange, which I really like this orange because it's a metallic orange, but it is opaque. So it tends to not let other colors shine through it so much. It's a pretty orange, but I also added a little bit of Amsterdam copper to it. So I mixed these 2 together, and it just kind of makes a richer, like this is a metallic orange, but it creates a richer orange. So so these are complementary colors. It's, this is kind of it's an orange, and I'm saying it's a reddish orange. They're close enough. They're kind of complementary colors. And then the other complementary color scheme we're working with is like a yellow orange, and then let's see, where is it here? Blue green, and then yellow and violet. So it's like a yellow and violet. So that's the other complementary color. So my violet is like a deep dark dioxazine violet, and I also added a little bit of Payne's Gray to this. So it's kind of a grayed down dioxazine purple. I love this really deep purple color. So that is our dark. There's one really dark color or dark value in this set of paints. And for my yellow, of course, I used a gold. So here we go with just a gold. I think this is Liquitex gold. I actually probably added a couple golds because I was running out of my Liquitex gold. But so we have, basically yellow and purple. And then we have like a teal and an orange. And then I needed some lighter colors. So I'm going to move the color wheel away, move these out of here. So I mixed up just some off-white colors. So I'm going to use a base coat for our flip and drag painting. So this is the base coat color here. It's just a very light kind of off. It's a very subtle kind of a bluish gray color. But I like it. I like off whites so much more than just standard whites. White is great to use. I use white all the time, but I love to mix up the whites and just add some stuff to it. So for the whites, I'm actually using a different white this time. I've been playing around with this white. This is a Craft Smart white. And one of our members, Robert, said he was having some issues with Craft Smart white, leaving some kind of crazy like cloudy effects or cells. So I thought I'd give it a shot. I bought two different whites from Craft Smart. This is a satin acrylic paint. Not to be confused with like satin enamel. This doesn't have the satin enamel effect. It's just kind of a little higher quality version of their craft paint, but it works pretty good. So I'm using this in place of the Artist Loft Flow acrylic because I ran out of it and I don't like that new stuff they have. So I thought I'd try some different whites out. This works great. It's a little thinner in consistency than the Artist Loft paint. So it creates, so you don't have to add much water. And actually, I had to add some other paints, which created this like bluish gray, just to get the paint thick enough. So there's no water in here at all. And I'll show you the consistency a little closer up. And then this one is just to mix with my colors. It's kind of a very light purplish, greenish color. It's just an off-white, basically. So these are two very light colors. And let's see here. So let me zoom back out a little bit more. There we go. So I just wanted to kind of put these in order as far as the values go. So these are, of course, this is a base coat color, but this will act as like our light value. Maybe I'll throw some in with the cups if I have some, as layers, if I have any left. But so we have these very light values here. So these are the light values. The gold actually acts as a kind of it's like a mid-light value. So it's right between like right in the middle of the value scale. So it's a lighter mid-value color. The orange and the aqua green are actually fairly close in value. These are right kind of smack dab in the middle of the value scale. This would be like a 5 or a 6. And then our deep dark dioxazine purple is our dark value. So this is more of a 9. It's not quite black, is dark as black. So I'd say about a 9 or 10. 10 would, if 10 was black, this would be about a 9 or so. So we have a nice range of values in this painting. So I just wanted to point that out because, and just to encourage you to try different colors and you could use a lot of different crazy colors in your flip cups, but just try to incorporate a nice range of lights, middles, and darks. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look. I'm going to move some of this paint out of the way. And oh, by the way, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to throw them up in the comments and I'll be checking as we go. And let's see here. Let's see. Let me show you the consistency as long as we're talking about paint and stuff and colors. I'm going to move my Liquitex out of the way. So I'm going to flip the camera again, go to my third camera. Here we go. Okay, so get that out of the way. So this is the bright aqua green color. I'm going to try to get that so you can see it. And so this is the consistency is my regular kind of a mound, like a slight mound or a smallish mound. So hopefully you can see that. So it's not, it's drastically thicker than the Dutch pour consistency. So it's a lot thicker than that. And one great thing about the flip cup is consistency is far less critical than things like the Dutch pour or like the Bloom and stuff like that. Here is the off-white. This is the base coat color. See if that shows up. So it's hard, probably impossible to see that. But there's a slight mound there. This is like the slightest bit thinner actually than the green is, but I'm not too worried about that. So you don't have to be super obsessed with getting the exact perfect consistency with flip cups. The consistency you can get it close and you're good enough to go. So, all right, let me see here. So hopefully that helps with the consistency, and you can all see that. Let me flip back over here to actually, as long as I'm here, let me show you this. So we're going to be working on two 16 by 20s tonight. So I'll be doing two 16 by 20s. Here is very close, the canvas coverage cheat sheet that I use all the time. And right at the top, here is the flip cup right here, the flip cup pours. And so 16 by 20, we're going to be needing 13 ounces for just a regular old flip cup if we were to do a 16 by 20. So what I'm going to be doing though is a flip and drag. So what I'd like to do with the flip and drag is put down a base coat. Let me flip back here. So the flip and drag is, I'll do that demo first, but the flip and drag, what I like to do is put down a base coat and kind of drag my cup across the canvas and make some kind of interesting shape, and then tilt it kind of rather harshly to get some interesting things happening. But I don't want to use 13 ounces of paint because that'll cover the entire canvas. What I like to do with the flip and drag is leave some negative space showing. So what I normally do is take what I would normally use for a flip cup, a regular one, like 13 ounces is a regular amount of paint for 16 by 20, and I divide it in half. So, and you could either round it and even round it down. So I'm going to use 6 ounces of paint in my layered cup for the flip and drag, and then we'll be tilting that. But I use less paint so we can keep some cool negative space shapes. So that's the first pour we're going to do. And then the second one is the multi-cup flip cup. And so what I would do with that one is take 13 ounces for 16 by 20 and then divide it by however many cups I was going to use in the flip cup. So I'm going to use 3 cups. I have like 3 cups right here. So if I divide that by 13 ounces, it's around like 5.3 or something like that. Or 4.3, something like that. But I want to round that up a little bit, just because you'll have a little bit of paint left in the cup. So not every drop of paint comes out of the cup. So I want to, round that up and have a little bit more than exactly, 4.3 ounces. So I rounded it up to 5. So I have 5 ounces marked on my 3 cups. And also I'm not going to use a base coat on the multi-cup flip cup. So I'm just going to flip the cups right on my bare canvas. So a little extra paint is always good too, because we're not going to have that base coat, which helps the paints like slide around. So just wanted to talk about how much paint we need. So with the flip and drag, if you're experimenting with that, you could use less paint, you could use a little bit more paint. I like to just take my, the regular amount I would normally use and just divide it in half or a little less than that. So, and we'll see how it works. It normally works out pretty cool. So I'm going to move some of these paints out of the way, and then I'll show you a couple examples of 2 flip and drags that I did a little earlier in the week. And because I couldn't find any of my previous ones, they're buried in a box somewhere full of paintings that I cannot find. So I know I did them, but I don't know where they are. So I got to just move all these paints out of the way. And let's see here. Let me move this out of the way. I've got lots of stuff here. And okay, so here are two paintings. Let me flip the camera and I'll show you these. And oh, by the way, the painting right behind me, this one, let me move out of the way. This one here is a multi-cup flip cup. That was using my glue-based recipe, and I had some silicone in there. So it's like just craft paints and glue and a little bit of silicone. So that's like a double, that's a 2-cup flip cup. It's kind of a cool painting. The cell's got a little bit funny, but I still like it. So that is like a multi-cup. We're not going to use silicone in our mixtures tonight, though. So let's take a look at the flip and drags. So here is the first one. And actually that was, I don't remember which way I liked it more. I think it was the other way. But this is, I used a lot of aqua green in this one too. But this is one of the flip and drags. And I kind of move the cup around the canvas on top of the base coat and then give it like some very kind of aggressive tilting to get some action, some really interesting action happening. So we don't have a ton of negative space in this one, but there's a little bit there. And so we have a little bit here, like the white. This one doesn't have a ton of it. And but this one has a little bit more negative space. So this is basically the same thing. I drag the cup around the canvas, do some aggressive tilting, and kind of create some interest. I have some cool negative shapes happening. So that one I think is a little bit better example of the flip and drag, the way I like to do it anyway. So those are two kind of examples of those, and hopefully the big one will be very cool. So let's get started and do a painting. Enough of the talking. So let me grab one of my canvases. So here it's all prepped and ready to go. I put tape on the back. I used the big giant push pins on this one. I thought, why not? I like to use them. And they make great handles to grab onto when we're tilting our canvas. So it's ready to go. It's a little bit, this canvas is a little bit warped, or it's got a little skew in it. So I kind of flex it a little bit to kind of straighten it out. That's pretty good. Let me zoom out a little more. It's a little close. Oops, that's the wrong way. And I got a question. And let's see here. Monique is asking, is Facebook working? And I'm not sure. I'm not seeing any problems with the streaming, at least on my end, but let's see here. Let me go over to Facebook and see, just a second. Facebook is always doing something crazy. So I'm just checking out and seeing if Facebook is working. And it's working. It seems to be working for me. But let's see let me do this quickly. Just give me one super quick second. I'm going to grab the link where you could join the YouTube live stream, and I'll throw it in the chat if you want to hop over there to and get off of Facebook. Just one sec. Let's see here. Okay, so let's see. I'm just pasting. Here is the YouTube link. I just put it in the comments. If Facebook's giving anyone problems, feel free to click on, if you can, click on the link, and you could go check out the rest of the live stream from YouTube. So, but hopefully everything will be okay. All right. So thanks for mentioning that, Monique. Okay. So, and Donna is looking for us. Donna, you could check the link. I just put it in the chat, and this is the live stream, so you have to join with the private link. So, okay. Well, let's continue on. Hopefully, Facebook will continue to work okay for us. So, all right. Let me get my gloves on first, and then we'll layer a cup, and we'll put on some base coat, and then we'll do a flip and drag. Let's see. Before I start, oh, it looks like, I wonder, it's not letting me post in the group. Uh-oh. It looks like I'm not able to post the link in the Pouring Studio Facebook group. That is a problem. But let's see here. One super quick second. Sorry, everyone. I'm going to do this super fast. I'm going to I'm going over to the Pouring Studio. I'm going to put the link, just creating a new post. So I just posted the link to the YouTube live stream in the Pouring Studio Facebook group. So if you can't see it in the chat, maybe you can find it in the Facebook group. All right. Cool. So, all right, hopefully you could find that in there. And let's get on to layering our cup. So here is the cup I'm going to be using for the flip and drag. It's a 7-ounce cup, but I just labeled it for 6 ounces. That's how much paint I'm going to be using. And I poked a hole in the bottom of the cup. Might not be able to see that. Maybe you can, kind of right there. And then covered it with some tape. So I made my little tape tab for it, because we're going to be releasing the vacuum, very similar to like the floating cup, but instead of letting it float around, we're going to be holding on to it and directing it where we want to go. So I'm going to, let me move the canvas here. I'll layer it like this. I'll put it right here. Now I'm going to be layering like a little differently, because flip cups, you can really kind of do things, take a lot of liberties. You don't have to be have really pretty layers. I'm going to put a little purple in. I'm going to put a little green in on the other side. And I'm just having kind of like doing kind of a creative, funky way of layering. So I'll turn the cup a little, put a little gold in. Put a little orange in on the other side. And then where's my light color? I'll turn it again. I'll put a little light in there as well. Maybe I'll take the purple and do a little bit of a high pour. So the purple will kind of shoot in there a little more. That'll create a little more blending. And I'll take, whoa, careful not to dump your paints, just like I almost did, my gosh. Okay, so I'm gonna take maybe the gold and the aqua green. I'm just gonna pour them in together, kind of like a double layer, kind of like that. So you can really, layer it any way you want. I'll do the same thing with the purple and the orange. So we're getting like kind of a crazy cup with a lot of crazy different layers. I'll do a high pour of the gold, perhaps. And then I'll put a little more of our off-white color in. And then maybe a little more of I'll do a double pour of the purple and the aqua, kind of like that. I think we're almost there, right there at our line. So, I mean, there's no specific way you can layer. I like to do either the floating layers, the drizzle layers. I didn't do any of those. Or like the high pour. I use that a lot to create a lot of blending and mixing. Or you could just go crazy and do stuff like that. With a flip cup, you can really do whatever you want. There's no rules at all. So I like to mix it up a lot. And we've got our 6 ounces. And I'm going to move the cup aside for the moment and pull my canvas back. All right. And now I'm going to lay on our base coat. And I'll spread this out. Let's see. That should be plenty, probably more than I needed. I'll try to do this quickly. This is just a regular 16 by 20 canvas. I was going to use one of my panels for one of the demos, but it takes a little longer to prep the panels because I like to get the sides covered and everything. So I thought I'd use the canvases to make it go a little faster. But I think we're going to get some very cool paintings. So here, this is that off-white, that very light green-blue. It's a very pretty color. So this is I have plenty of paint on here. It's a I could use a little less paint. I could actually maybe scrape a little off. It was a pretty liberal amount of paint I put on there. I want a good layer of paint because our cup's going to be floating around in it. And also it'll help with the tilting and getting some interesting movement with the paint when we tilt. So that's pretty good. I'd say just trying to even it out here as best I can. Okay, that looks pretty good. Put that back. I'll wipe my knife off. The paint dries on your palette knife like crazy fast. Like 10 seconds and that paint is dry. It's nuts. Okay. So we've got our base coat. And one thing you could do, I was thinking about doing it, but I thought I'd just do the regular way. But if you like this style, this technique, I've got a little bare spot, just a second, right here. If you like this technique, which I really do, you could get a little more complex with it and do a like 2 base coats, a split base coat. So you could put like a darker color here with an interesting line, and then your flip cup will kind of follow that line. So you'd have like a one kind of negative space color here, another one down here. You'll kind of get the idea once we start flipping our cup. So next up, I need to get my handy tool, which is my chopper right here. And I always use this with the flip and drag just because I want to kind of gently put the cup on the canvas. So I'm going to cover my cup with my chopper and flip it over. And so I'm going to decide like what area I want to put it. I'm thinking maybe right about here, like a third of the way up. And I'm going to put it inset, like a little bit inside the canvas. And I'll explain why in a second. So I'm just going to slide the cup off and then hold it down kind of gently. We don't want the cup to kind of like move around on itself. So next up, I'm going to pull my tab off. And this is going to be you kind of have to feel this, but the paint is going to want to come shooting out from underneath the cup. So we want to We want to kind of hold the cup down gently. So I let the paint out, and now it's going to want to shoot from underneath the cup, but we don't want to let it all out at once. What we want to do is kind of gently lift the cup. I'm going to move it backwards a little bit, just so I have paint going off the edge to start with. Then I'm going to start moving it around the canvas. And I'm just kind of lifting it very delicately off of the canvas. The paint is kind of mixing and blending with the base coat a little bit. And I'm just moving it around. I want to make an interesting line or interesting shape. And you can kind of feel the paint wanting to come out of there. And see, I'll move it back around here a little bit. And I think, there we go. It's all the way out. I got all the paint out. So cool. But we made it all the way across the canvas, which is nice. And so we've got like a very interesting array of colors, and there's lots of cells kind of popping up right now. And that's mostly due to the Liquitex pouring medium and the Floetrol mixture. So now we are going to tilt this sucker and hopefully make something very interesting happen. So I'm going to be tilting kind of aggressively because I want the paint to move around in kind of interesting ways. So I'm going to pick it up and kind of get it going first, just to see. Sometimes you can get like the cup will maybe touch the canvas and there'll be a little bare spot there where the paint is very thin. So I kind of like to get the paint moving around a little bit, kind of roll it around like this before I get to really tilting. And now I'm going to just kind of tilt it fairly aggressive. And I'll set it down and get another grip and really get the paint moving. So this is a colorful one. So my negative space is like going away quickly. So I want to try to conserve some of that. But I also want to make some interesting shapes. That's kind of the trick, and that's like the some of them are better than others just because the paint doesn't always move the way you want it to move, making some interesting shapes. But I like this up here. See this like crazy shape? That I love. Up here, it's a little more subtle, but it wasn't wanting to do something crazy up there, so I just kind of pulled it back. Let's see. I'm going to just kind of move it a little more. I'm getting some interesting movement here. And sometimes when the paint gets thicker, it likes to, you get like this big drip that moves around. Right here, I don't love this orange. I'm going to tilt this off of the corner. I don't like that negative space, so I'm going to tilt off there. That'll be the only corner really that is tilted off. But that's good. That'll give it some variety. Okay. So I'm just checking it out. And I actually quite like that a lot. So I think I'm going to stop there. These generally go pretty quick with the tilting process. Let me wipe my hands off quick and I'll point out a couple things. So this one actually turned out very colorful, which I like. And we got a lot of cool blending, but we got a lot of awesome cells happening and lacing, and that's the Liquitex pouring medium doing that. So let's see here. So I mean, this is my favorite part right here. This crazy, abstract, very interesting negative shape. I really just love that. I love the orange kind of swooping us into the painting from down here. And then we kind of meander on through here. There's lots of cool lacing and the colors are blending nicely. You know, we don't have a ton of gold happening, but we got this really nice like gold streak through here. And then we kind of fly off this side. So I think that's a pretty cool painting. I love the lacing and the cells. So that one I think turned out pretty good. And I could actually have used less paint than 6 ounces. I think you can see, you know, if you used much less paint, like if I use 4 ounces or 3 ounces, we'd have much more negative space. So if you really like negative space, you can use even less than like half of that amount. So like 3 ounces would probably give you a very cool, interesting, you know, paint puddle shape, but you'd have a lot of cool negative space to work with. So, but I'm pretty pleased with that one. So I like that one a lot. So, all right, let me move this one out of the way and then we'll get to the next one. Just one second. Okay, so let me flip back here quick and just check and see if there's any questions about the flip and drag. If you had any. Let's see here. Hopefully Donna is with us again. Thanks, Donna, for hanging in there. I know Facebook is a real problem when it wants to do stuff. It screws everything up. So, okay. All right, just checking to see if there's any questions. And I'm not seeing any. So, okay. Okay, yeah, Lily mentioned the purple was more subtle. Yeah, it was more subtle. I didn't use a ton of purple, but it blended in with other colors. So you never quite know what's going to happen. But yeah, we'll get some more purple in the next one, I think, for sure. All right. Okay, so the next technique is this is more of a standard flip cup, but we're going to be using 3 cups instead of just 1 big cup. So I've done a lot of 16 by 20 like single flip cups, and you need a big old cup. That's 13 ounces of paint. So I normally use a 16-ounce cup, and then you dump the whole thing, and you get a cool painting. You know, don't get me wrong, but the multi-cup flip cup gives you a little more, gives you a few more options, and especially for larger pieces, you kind of have to go with a multi-cup flip cup, just because if you're working on anything over like a 24 by 30, or a larger, that's a huge cup of paint. So it's easier to break them up into smaller cup sizes, and we can do some things that are a little bit different and cooler with them. So, all right, let me flip back here to the other camera, and we'll take a look at our cups and layer them. So let me go over here. All right, so I got a big mess. So I think what I'll do is just maybe scrape some of this away so I can set my cups down. Actually, I could just scrape that up and put it somewhere. Like here's a little cup I have. Why not save our paint? So I'll just scoop up my drippings. Just put it in here. Cool. All right, so I'll set that aside. Okay, so I have 3 of these. These are 7-ounce cups. These are like nice size cups, these little small ones. And I've marked them for 5 ounces. So again, I want to use a little bit more than, I think if you divided 13 ounces by 3, it was 4.3 or something like that. So this is, I rounded up a little bit. Gives me a little extra paint, just because paint will stay in the cup. We can't get all the paint out of it, as you know, like this one, you know, the one we just did. There's still probably maybe, I don't know how much paint is in there, 1/4 to 1/2 ounce or something. So we want to give ourselves a little bit of extra, just to be safe. And I'm not going to be using a base coat on this one either. So that'll also be nice, a good idea, just give us a little extra paint. So what a lot of people do with a multi-cup flip cup is they layer all their cups the exact same way, with the exact same colors, in the exact same order, and then they just throw them all up on the canvas. I think that is probably the most boring way you could possibly do it. So I like to, you know, make it as interesting as possible. We've got 3 cups. Why not do something different in each cup? So I'm going to use the same colors in every cup. And you could use different colors in every cup also if you wanted to. I'm going to use all the same colors in each cup, but I'm going to vary the amount of the values in each cup. So like for the first cup, I'm going to go maybe with the lighter values, more of the lighter values. The middle cup, maybe more of the mid-value range colors. And then in the third cup, maybe some darker values. So more of the purple, less of and maybe none of the light colors. So, you know, why not make it as different and varied as possible? And then you're just going to give yourself a better chance to get a more interesting dynamic painting. That's at least my thoughts on the matter. So let's see, I've got this cool white. I'm going to start with the light color, like that. Maybe I'll put some gold in next. And I'm not going to put the same, you know, I'm not writing any of this down. If I wanted to, you know, record all this, I probably would have listed all the colors first, just so I'd have I just have a record of what I did. I'm just like shooting from the hip here and just throwing the stuff in to see what happens. So all I want to make sure I do is add more of the light colors to the first cup, kind of like I mentioned before. So let's put some orange. And I'll put a little bit of the purple in here, but maybe just one small layer. Because I want, you know, all of the cups to be cohesive and unified. So let's see, maybe I'll put some more of this in. I'll do a high pour of the light color. And then maybe some of the aqua. And I need some more gold. A little more gold. And there we go. We've got our first cup. Now with the middle cup, I'm going to start with the orange maybe. And then I'll put a little purple in there. And then maybe a little bit of the aqua color, some of the gold. So again, I'm just kind of throwing the paint in willy-nilly. I'm not being careful at all. I'm going to do a little of the light, high pour kind of the light color. And that'll be the only layer maybe of the light. And let me go back to some orange. And some of the, and then maybe a little high pour of the gold for the last layer. There we go. So we got 2 down. So now the third one, I'm going to start with the purple because I want more of the darks in this one. And then I'll put some of the aqua, Maybe I'll do a high pour of the gold again. Add some of the orange. I'll do a little bit of the light color. Here's like the drizzle layer. I'll do a little drizzle layer of that. Go back to the purple. Maybe a drizzle layer of the purple. And tiny bit of orange. And tiny bit of the aqua, and we're done. We have got our 3 cups. They are all layered, and I've used more light colors in this one, more of the middle values in this one, and more of the darks in this one. So now it's time to flip this sucker on the canvas. And let's see here. I just saw a question. And let's see here. Carla is asking, can the colors get muddy? Yes, they could. We will find out if they do or not. There's always the possibility that the colors can get muddy, especially when we're working with 2 sets of complementary colors. So there's plenty of room for mud to happen. I wasn't paying too much attention to keeping the complements separated, but but I'm not too worried about it. We'll see. I think we'll be okay, but you never know. You never know. And let's see here. And Monique is asking, how much does Floetrol cost in the US? It's fairly inexpensive here. I think a gallon of the Floetrol is about $15. The quarts are about $10, which is kind of surprising, but so it makes more sense to buy the gallons. But over there, they make something, I'm not sure if you can get it, Monique, it's called Oatrol. And that's available more for Canada and I think Europe. So you might want to check on Oatrol. And it works very similar to Floetrol. Okay. Let's see. And all right, so let's move the cups for a minute. They're stuck to my paper. And I'll pull the canvas back. Okay, so I'm going to just do the old school flip on this one. I'm going to maybe head kind of towards the central area, but just flip it over. Here is my middle one. And I like to hold the cups underhand and then flip it over quick as a cat. And then our third one, flip it over. There we go. Okay. So we'll let that sit for a second, not too long, and then we will pull them off. And I think I'm going to, so I like to, aim for the center, but you could always slide them if you need to. I'm going to slide them down a little and then pull them backwards away from me. And we'll see what we get. So here we go. Let's try. So we got a lot of the white happening in that one. I'll let that sit there for a second. Here we go on this one. That one looks pretty cool. And then you can just let the cups sit upside down for a second if you want to. And then our third, there is our purple cup. So that's looking kind of interesting. We can tap out the cups a little bit because we didn't use a base coat on this one. So, but we should have enough paint to cover our 16 by 20. So right away, I'm liking what's happening. We have, this kind of cool gradation happening. So light, kind of the lighter area, middle, darker. So we'll see what we can do as we tilt. And here we go. So we got this big old giant paint puddle. And, we got a bunch of cells happening, which is really cool. Again, that's the Liquitex doing its thing. So now we're kind of back to standard tilting, my standard tilting method. So I'm just going to kind of move the paint puddle and expand it around the canvas. I just want to get it larger, without going off the edges or sides. That's looking good. And then you can, turn it. I'm always turning my canvases. So there we go. And then we can kind of recenter it a little bit. So we've expanded our paint puddle. I like it so far. Things are looking good. I think I'm going to tilt off of the purple first. The reason is I've got more purple now. It's kind of taking over. So I don't want it to kind of go nuts. If I tilt off these two corners, it's going to be moving down there. So I want to kind of control that a little bit. We're getting some very cool stuff happening though. So I'm going to go kind of, most of the paint now is up here. So I'm going to kind of gently, I'm not tilting really harshly. I'm just letting the paint slide back down here. And again, you can take your time with this. And we'll go off this corner first. And I like to kind of pinch that paint delicately and then kind of move it back up. And now I'll do this one again also, just because we've got like a lot of this purple. You can actually go, maybe I'll do this one. I'm going to go do this one instead. Why not? So I have to move kind of the paint all the way back there. But see, doing it this way, kind of, opposite corners, I'm getting some more diagonal things happening, which I really like a lot. So I'll move the paint over here. And kind of tilt it back. Okay. So that I'm liking a whole lot. I'm going to move it over here and do this one next, I think. So I'm getting the paint to move kind of down there, and then I'll kind of tilt it back over to the corner. And there we go. Okay, and then back again. I don't want that white to get lost. So last corner, I'll turn the canvas. And it's hard to see on the camera, but when you're doing this in person, you can see where the paint is moving a whole lot easier. And you can, direct it it's fairly easy to direct and control with a little bit of practice with your tilting. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to just tilt off of this last corner and then go back. Okay, so the tilting is, phase 2 is complete. We have covered the canvas. And I'm liking what's happening. So I'm going to just turn it around a little and just take a look at it now. So third phase of the tilting is just to see if there's anything else we want to adjust or alter, like make small changes. And that's a very personal call based on what you see, what you like. The only thing I'm looking at right now, I love what's happening. I think it looks pretty amazing. The only thing I see that I don't really like is this corner right here. I like it, but it's very distracting because it's like right in that corner. So I think I might tilt that off, and it wouldn't take much to do that. So I think I'm going to give that a shot. I'm going to turn it though. And just kind of gently tilt down. I'm looking at the whole painting because I don't want to, sacrifice the whole painting for that little tiny corner. So I want to be kind of careful. But there it goes. So it's just like that. And I'm going to tilt back. And actually, I like kind of what happened. We kind of stretched some of the paint around a little bit and created an interesting, kind of very, very interesting shape. Now I'm just kind of doing a little bit of an adjustment, but that's about it. So I think I'm done with the tilting, and I really like this one. So let me wipe my hands off quickly. I think the cells are very cool, and that is typical of, we've got tons and tons of smaller cells, and that's typical of the Liquitex pouring medium and the Floetrol mix. And I use it a lot with the floating cup pour and the open cup pour, but it works great with the flip cup as well. And I just really like everything about this one. So let's see here. So one thing that's very cool with the multi-cup flip cups is because we have 3 different cups or however many cups, we keep these bands, these like dividing lines. They never really go away. So you can't really tell it was 3 cups. It just looks like, oh, wow, look at that crazy painting. But we can see right here, that was the first cup. And then this orange line and this very delicate orange line down here, that was the second cup. And then the purple line, and this was the third cup. So it's a very cohesive painting because we use the same colors in all 3 cups, but we have a very distinctive composition because we use the different, lighter colors, the middle value colors more, and then more of the darker colors in this one. But those dividing lines between the cups act as composition lines and are very cool. And that works also with if you're doing a multi-ring pour as well, or straight pour, where you have multiple like straight pours or ring pours on one canvas. You still keep those like dividing lines, which is kind of cool. Kind of keeps the paint puddles separated, which acts like as a very cool compositional tool. So that is the multi-cup flip cup. And I think it turned out pretty nicely. We've got our orange showing through the purple over here, which I really like. We do have some blending. Like we have some of the gold and the purple is underneath. We have some more blending over here, but I don't think it's muddy. I don't think it's a muddy painting. So we didn't, create, we did get blending and stuff, but I think it works together and is a pretty nice one. So I'm pretty pleased with that. And a lot of this has to do with, the paint mixture we used, the 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts Liquitex pouring medium, and then the 3 parts paint. So that is the multi-cup flip cup. I'm going to flip it back and then see if you have any questions. Please throw them up in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. I'm going to just scroll back up here and see if there was see if there's any questions. Mm-hmm. So I'm not seeing any questions at the moment. And let's see. A lot of talk about Floetrol. So, cool. Okay, Lily is asking, what is the recipe again? Excuse me. The recipe is, I'll flip the cup and I'll show you. I'll shoot it over to the second camera. So here is, oh my God, oh my gosh. Sorry. Just 1 second. That was almost disastrous. Okay, so here we go. This is, you have access to this paint mixing chart in the membership. Where is it here? So, but this is the recipe, Floetrol and paint mixture. Nope, that's not the one. This is the one. Floetrol Liquitex paint pouring medium in the paint mixture. It's 3 parts Floetrol, 2 parts of the Liquitex pouring medium, 3 parts of the paint, and some water to get just the right consistency. That varies based on the color. And then down below that, we have the different part sizes used. That's kind of like a cheat sheet. So if you use like a 1 ounce part size, it tells you exactly how much of each ingredient to use. And so this is in the membership. If you go to the membership homepage, I believe there's a topic. One of the category topics is the links to the success path and also the downloads. So you'll be able to find it in there. But you could print that out. I use it all the time as a resource because I can't remember all those things all the time. So, but I always have those handy with me. But that's a great question. And hey, McLovin has joined us. Hey, McLovin. Robert, he likes the style. Thanks. It's a fun one. So, and you don't have to use the Liquitex pouring medium recipe if you don't want to. You could still get great results just using the Floetrol and paint mixture. So if you wanted to just keep it simple, 2 parts Floetrol, 1 part paint, and you could do very similar results. You will get some cells with the just regular Floetrol paint mix, but the Liquitex really kind of kicks it up a notch, and you can get some a lot more cells, which I love. And okay, oh, Lily has printed it out already. Awesome. So cool. All right, well, I am last call for questions. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really love the flip and drag technique. I don't know why I don't do it more often. Every time I do it, I'm like, wow, I love this. I have to do it more often. Also, the multi-cup flip cups, I don't do those nearly as often, but it's so much fun. So, but the big points about this technique, I guess, what I want to encourage you to try is give both of these variations of the flip cup a try. I think you'll enjoy them a lot. With the floating or the flip and drag, just be kind of gentle with the cup, not to let too much paint escape all at once. And then when you're using your colors or picking your colors, try to incorporate the lights, the middle values, and the darks. And I think you'll get a lot more contrast and excitement with your paintings. And if you're doing the multi-cup, kind of mix up the cups. You don't have to do the same colors and the same layers. And it doesn't have to be, more lights in one cup and more middle values and darks. You could change up the colors, use more oranges in one, use more purples in one, use more aqua greens in one. Pretty much anything you want to try out. But I would encourage you to just make them different in some way. I think you'll get better, more interesting results when the more you can vary things up. So, but thanks so much for joining me. I don't think there are any more questions, but I think we'll call it a night. I'm going to be uploading some more demos in the membership for you to check out using the glue mixture And I have a kind of a special glue mixture and Nova Color medium and varnish mixture. And that uses some silicone or the coconut oil, which I really like. And so check out, I'll post about those demos when I upload them. But I think you'll enjoy those as well. So lots to do with the flip cup. But thank you everyone for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this one. I had a ton of fun. And I will talk to you again very soon. Take care.